Hello, good people of the guitar universe. It's Justin, and I'm here with Lee. My first lesson back, or first video back, since I've been away in Italy for a week, and I haven't seen you for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes, yeah. A while. But actually, I quite like these sort of slightly elongated gaps between lessons, because it does give me a bit more time to sort of get in, to sort of practice. And I'll come back to actually some sort of the pros and the cons of these elongated gaps between sort of lessons, because
which is you wander off the beaten path, which could be a pro or a con.
No, so the last time we were here, we had a couple. You left me with some basic sort of exercises and some alternative chord shapes and things like that. All good. And what I've tended to find is that I can, through purely and simply work commitments and stuff. This particular last time, I got 2 or 3 weeks of really practicing quite a lot and slamming, sort of, feeling like it was getting somewhere. And then 2 or 3 weeks of not practicing so much. And I really found that I was forgetting some of the stuff that that I thought I'd sort of mastered. And I don't know whether there's anything we could cover today to sort of try and help a bit more with that sort of, how do you...
So there was a guy years and years and years ago, there was a mind memory Olympiad, believe it or not, there's such a thing, who came to do a talk in Tassie about learning principles and stuff. And he had this idea that, and this is some freaky dude that memorized like
the order of
60 packets of cards or some ridiculous thing like that. But anyway, the thing that he talked about was gradually increasing the amount of time between you look at something. Yeah. And he suggested that you learn something. Once you've learned it, you give it a day and then you play it again. Then you give it 4 days and then you play it again. Then you give it a week. Then you give it a fortnight. Then a month. Then 2 months. Then 6 months. And then a year. And I did that with all of the classical pieces that I was learning at the con at that time. And I still remember them. Now, I don't know if it could be that just I was playing them a load because I had to play them for exams and stuff. But generally, if I'm trying to memorize something properly, I try to give it a revisit like a couple of months later after I've learned it, and then like a year later. Now, it's not something I've ever done consciously, but I think like, oh, I haven't played that for ages, so I definitely want to remember that one. So I'll go back and revisit it, just randomly.
Well, I think we'll see. I mean, I think I know song lyrics from all the songs that I was listening to when I was a teenager, and now I don't even understand most song lyrics now, let alone try and memorize them. So I think some of it's just, senile dementia kicking in. But
do you have any sort of lick book or guitar book or chord?
No, but I was thinking I didn't really... I think that potentially is the answer, to just try and write some more stuff down. So it's not even a lick book. It's just... It's almost just like a notebook to just write anything that you want to down in. It could be a lick, or it could just be a something.
Everyone's different, but I definitely find that when I write something down, that it helps me remember it. It's almost like I can see the page where I wrote it down. Yeah. So like for you, rather than having these chords just swimming around, if you... printed off from my site the blank chord paper or whatever, and buy one of those little folder with the clear sheets in it or whatever, and just have cool dominant chords at the top, and you just write them down. Yeah. First of all, if you write them down from memory, it's always better than copying off stuff. Yeah. When there's a song I really want to remember that I'm transcribing, I learn it off the record without writing a thing down. Yeah. And then write it down like a week later. If I can do that, then it's in forever kind of thing. Enough. So write as many of the chords out as you can from memory. Yeah. And then maybe look at the pad or the lesson sheet or whatever and try and add some more in. It's a useful thing when you're practicing the chords then to go, well, all of these ones I know, that one, I'd forgotten about that one, and then you can give it a bit of a run.
Well, that was where we got to last time, because you essentially said, you just gave me these 2 position. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Good.
And that's fine. I think the only thing I did want to double check. I'm not playing. I'm not playing it like that. Okay. Is that okay or not?
It's okay. There's nothing, dude. You can play them whatever way you like. If Jeff Beck had come for me for lessons, I would have told him playing rock guitar with your fingers is a stupid idea. So, like, you know, it doesn't matter.
Fine.
The one thing that I think is slightly better with using these fingers, is if you do gospel slides, which is something I'd like to show you.
Yeah.
The first finger, if you like that, to not get rid of, to lift up your first finger is hard, and if you play it, it's a bit of a weird sound. So you really, for gospel slides, you just want those three.
So are you playing the?
Yeah. So let's. Shall we check out gospel slides today? Have we ever done it? Because they're a great sounding thing.
Which three?
That's it. Not this finger. That's why I'm saying.
Okay.
That's it.
Right. Oh, so okay. So you're.
So you could play them at the beginning, but for the slide.
Fine. So. No, I get that. All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, funnily enough, when I left here, I was going to that position, and then somehow it morphed into.
But I mean, there's nothing.
But you're right. I'm not playing that third note in the chord, am I? When I'm or rather, I'm sort of. I mean, it is there.
It's getting a bit muffled.
But it's getting a bit muted. It's not as.
And the other problem with this one is that this note is a real clanger.
It has a tendency to. Yeah, I mean.
But check out what happens when you do this one. Look, if you do this fingering, look where your first finger sits. It's actually, you can actually, if you want to do a.
Oh, I see, like a.
Yeah, it's on the wrong string.
Sorry.
That's it. It probably naturally kind of falls there anyway, so you could play that note. Or if you accidentally played it, it's not going to sound horrible, but if you play this one accidentally.
Yeah, that's bad. So. Just jazz version.
Yeah.
So that was that, and then you gave me those sort of three, was it?
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Or something like that, anyway. Yeah. And then there was a 4, so that was it. Oh man, and that's the one I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't do it at all.
Use your second and third fingers there. If you're going to do this lead, watch. You want to use it because getting third finger to jump from there to that. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. And that's annoying because I did that a lot in the sort of first couple of weeks after, and then not so much after that. And it's annoying how quickly it sort of, well, it didn't go full in, but.
That's it. The trick with those things is to really focus on the clarity of the notes.
Yeah.
So when you're practicing it, you want to make sure that every note is. Don't let. I can't consciously do it. But sometimes that last note was just not quite. As dominant as the other ones.
Yeah.
So this big cable annoying me. I've got to figure out a better solution for that. Anyway. Oh, and watch the 2 strings ringing out together.
Oh yeah.
So don't. That's it. That's better. That's better.
Yeah, I need to. Okay, so that's
slow, careful ones of those. Let's go back and do the chords and have some fun with the chords. Expand that a little bit, and then we'll come back to doing the scale patterns. So let's go back to that 9th chord there. That's it. Now we're there. So let's talk about gospel slides. So when you've got that 9th chord shape, if you lift off the first finger, you can slide those 3 notes up 2 frets and back. That's it. That's it. Now, what's going on? What was this chord?
A.
Yeah, A what?
Oh, I can't remember.
A9.
Right, okay.
Okay, it's the same sound as this. If we slide those up, any idea what that would be? Slide them up, slide them up. That's it. Put your first finger down on the note A on the top. Thinner string, thinner string. That's it. That.
Well, that's some sort of D, isn't it?
That's still A. We're still thinking A.
Right. Okay.
So let's just, and I'm just taking you through the process of understanding here now. So exactly. If you had that little finger off, what if you had little finger off?
Oh,
and it was still an A.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What would it be? Any idea? Okay, so that's an A.
Yeah.
What note is that you're putting your little finger down on?
That is the F sharp.
Good. What's F sharp relative to A?
Oh, I have no idea.
Just count. A, B, C.
Oh, okay.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Right.
Right? So in the key of A, F is an F sharp.
Right.
You're like, nah.
I'm not sure where you're going with this. So
I'm trying to. I'm explaining about where the chord name comes from. So this is an A chord with one extra note in it. It's the note F sharp.
Yeah.
If we want to find the name of the chord, we have to know what F sharp is, how it's related to the key of A.
Right. So
that's how we name our chords all the time.
Okay.
So if we're thinking the A major scale, you'd have to go A major scale had 3 sharps, and the only reason I'm doing this to you is because you haven't learned your theory yet properly, and I'm now.
But I mean, so if essentially you're sort of saying you would count through, and then whichever one it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
No,
wasn't that the note that you wanted?
Keep going. No, 2 more.
Oh, okay. 12. Sorry, 12, 13. Hang on.
Yeah, you were right. That's it. So it's in the scale.
Yeah.
And it's the 13th note of the scale.
13.
So 13 and 6 are the same note, actually.
Right, okay.
So you could call it a 6 or a 13.
It starts again, doesn't it?
I tend to call it a 6, especially if I'm doing this. Because I'd be thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
13 I might do. Same.
I see. So
that's a 13.
Okay, yeah.
But in this little,
so it's sort of relative to where the root note is.
Yeah, it's not really. There's other complicating factors, but
no, but I mean, as in because that's the sort of the root of that. If that's the 6th, rather than if it was down here, then it would be the 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, 13th implies that it's got a flat 7 as well. Just for the theory governs that are going to have a go at me if I don't correct myself here. Anyway. Let's play it. 3rd, like that's it. Now add your little finger on the top. Okay. This is a great chord in its own right for like rockabilly stuff. If you do them. Or even just a regular boost. It's a really cool little sound. Just give a strong. I'm going to play a bass line, and you're going to play some rhythm with that. Just that chord.
Okay.
3, 4. Move it to D. D. Good. Great. So you got a new chord that you can use.
Yeah.
Now, gospel slides is the magic of these 3 notes sliding up 2 frets and moving from a 9th chord to a 6th chord and back. That's what's happening. Right? That's it. Some people refer to these as minor chords as well, because technically those 3 notes are the same as an E minor. If you play an E minor open, these 3 notes, these 3,
yeah.
it's actually the same.
Right.
Yeah. So some people would think of it as like an E minor sliding up to an F sharp minor, but I think it's easier to think of it as a 9th chord going to the 6th chord. Just to, again, for pleasing the pedants.
Yes.
There's lots of different ways of approaching how you can have this kind of thing, or you really can. There's a lot of different ways of using the same thing.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the best start is the 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Keep going. 1, 2. That's it. Don't worry about the thinner string. Just the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. That's it. 2 and 3, 4, 1. To D. Excellent. And again. Back to A. Stay there. Back to A. And again A. Stay there. Excellent. Now, that's a super classy little thing that you can add in. All of the cool boys use it, right?
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing that you want to try and experiment with a little bit, mixing now into your other playing. So now I'm going to do the same thing, the little chunka 12 bar. I want you to use some of those chords that you've learned before, and then just chuck in a gospel slide. We're just going to stay on the A. I'm not going to worry about moving chords yet. I'm just trying, this is the process that I'd like you to try at home. When you ever get a new chord or a new idea, play the stuff that you know already that you're confident with, and then mix in the new thing and be moving back between them. Make sense?
Sure.
Here we go. 3, 4. Excellent. Now we're going to D. That's okay. Excellent. Now, what I did to you there was a conscious thing to see how well you were listening, and you were listening really well. Okay. So I told you when we were making the first change, but then I didn't say anything. I didn't say whether last time I deliberately kept you up on the E chord for 2 and then straight back to A. This time I did E, D, A, and you followed along great. That's kind of a good example of what happens in a real jam, because you don't really know what's going to happen till it happens. Yeah. And you did the perfect thing, which was you didn't try and play. You didn't try and jump on one. You just sat out, waited to go, oh, he has moved. Now I'll play those chords. So that's a really great little thing to be working on.
Are you very consciously trying to train yourself to play that chord with your second, third and fourth finger, or does it...
The reason I'm doing this is for a couple of reasons. One, we already said that this is a good grip. I'm already, if I've got those fingers used to playing that, I can do that. But here's another interesting variation on it. You can use these, the thinnest, if you pop, that's it. Now lift off third finger. That's it. No, just don't play the open string. So just play the thinnest 3 strings now. That's it. You can actually do the same thing.
Oh, so instead of going... No,
no, it's still not a D, it's still A. Okay. It's just another new one that you can try.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So you've got here, and it's just a nice little...
So that you'd never, that within that gospel chord, I take it that note...
No, but just because that note's
it's just not very... No, okay.
It's not part of the family for gospel slides. Now the other one that I'll show you, which is really cool, we'll do it on the D, but it works just as well on the A as well, is this. Remember I said to you it's like the little minor chord? Look, that's perfect. It's the A minor, So here on the D, so there's the D9 chord, then that's it, just the thinnest 3 strings. That's it.
And is that the same as what we had?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, you can hear it now.
Yeah.
You're thinking exactly right now. You go, look. They're the same notes. That's it. So for D now. Make sure that, just keep the thinnest string.
That's quite difficult.
It is.
It's sort of easier.
In some ways it's
easier to get a bit of vibrato on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're not going to get vibrato so much on this.
No, it's difficult, But if I suppose if you're playing that,
if you've got a whammy bar, you're fine. Just don't let the bass note. That's it. When you're doing those things, you don't want those first two, the lowest 2 notes to ring out, because it'll sound a bit weird. Yeah. So on the gospel slides in A, we'd have this one. We had this one. And we had this little minor chord. It'll be in A. Be right up here. That's it. Now there's one other one, which is a little bit of a weird one. You can also play the same. Yeah, and that's it. It's a bit of a weirder one on lots of levels. That's it.
And where's that? Picking that up?
That's it. That's it. Last one, right at the top. That's it. Now, I must say, this one, I don't tend to use it a lot myself. It sounds, there's something about it that just doesn't have the same kind of flavour as the other ones.
Yeah,
I don't know. And top E string sounds a little funky.
I was trying to decide which note is it that's not very nice in.
I mean, it's the same three notes, right? It's just different octaves.
Right.
So it just must be something about having that top note there that just doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of grip that maybe someone like Larry Carlton would use, but they'd use it in a super tasteful way and just make the thing that sounds a bit quirky to us would sound amazing when they do it. I don't know how that works, but so that's called a gospel slide, and that's a really, really nice one to fit in there.
That's good.
Lots of people use them all the time. Now that you've heard it, you'll start to listen out for it a little bit more, because that's part of that. The thing of learning these kind of tricks is that you'll now hear Stevie Ray Vaughan using it, or Robin Ford using it, or whoever, and go like, "Oh, I know what that trick is. I know how to copy that." I've just been showing you a real set kind of standard pattern. This 1, 2, and 3, 4. The 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. But it's definitely worth mucking around with. Or I quite like that one as well, going 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. That's it. That's it.
What was the other one?
1, 2, and.
But you sort of.
Excellent.
I'm playing it with my wrong.
I'll let you off. What's really funny, I'm not sure what's happened, but being my first day back, and I haven't touched the guitar since I've come back, but my autopilot isn't working properly, so I keep going like, my fingers where I can normally just go play a blues and they just do it, they're going like, they're stopping, I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway.
I didn't notice, so it's all fine.
Anyway. So, your next challenge, your next homework challenge is to nail down gospel slides in any key. Right? So E and A is going to be nice and easy, but I'd like to be able to deal with it in, I don't know, C or B flat or something.
And does anything... let me just think. So that's always going to be... Yeah, does anything change? What was my question? I had a question and now it's gone. No. So you're always fun. It doesn't really matter, does it? So I guess you can start with if it's going to be in a chord pattern where perhaps you would traditionally start with the A string as the root note. You're just starting with, or you're just playing it first.
Yeah, exactly. So you mean like a blues in D?
Yeah.
So if we were doing a blues in D. Then we go to G.
What was the you were doing? And like you didn't do a 4 there, did you? On that, where did you went from a D? I was expecting.
I went from the A.
Right. And would I have just done a?
No, it's still G.
Oh,
it's a G chord. I've just moved the bass note.
Okay.
So I'm playing G with a
with a
B
B
bass.
over the top. Okay, fine.
Let's talk about that next week because it's a great trick. It's one of my favourite blues things. And now when I play a blues, if I don't hear that, sometimes it gets all icky. It's like again, it's just one of those things that I heard all the cool cats doing for a long time. I didn't figure out what it was, and then when I got it, it was like, oh, it's that trick. It's a Robert Johnson thing from way back when. But let's just work on gospel slides just being your thing for chords. Remember that you can use this stuff in vamps as well, right? So a lot of the things like when Pete's having a jam or sets up a loop, it's not normally a whole 12-bar blues. So this kind of thing works great on using, in the key of E, just a vamp if it's going like at a... That's it.
Okay.
So a nice thing to do again is to just put, rather than having to worry about the whole 12-bar changes, is just to put a little loop on in whatever key you like, just one chord. And then you're trying to do, if you're in the key of C, you're trying to go C7, C7, C9, gospel slide, C7, if you know those ones or whatever, and you go through all of the different grips that you can possibly think of for C, and that's where that chord book stuff comes in handy, to have all of those chords on one sheet. You can, that's very good, well done. That's it. You got me?
Yeah.
Cool. So, scaly stuff, you've got those melodic patterns.
Yes.
I would probably recommend giving them another brush up before we get to them, and really try and focus on the notes being super duper clear. They're unlikely to come out naturally on their own in the scheme of things until they're at the point where you don't really have to think about them anymore. While you still have to go, I think I can remember that one. Just like when you're jamming,
I was trying, because it's fun enough that getting them into a lick is more difficult. I mean, I did sort of, I think we were mucking around yesterday, and I was trying to use the reverse, so something like that came out in a lick, and it was okay.
Good.
But yeah, there isn't really anything yet that's going.
But maybe it might just be this.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Try it. Again. And again, just keep going. Excellent.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
So don't feel like they have to be these really big, complicated things. The smaller they are, the more useful they're going to be for you, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to give you one more trick today, which is just like a little pattern that you can work on. The one thing when I listen to you play that I want sometimes is just like an occasional flashy moment at a climax.
Yeah.
I love your vibrato. I think your phrasing's really good. You've got lots of great things going on. But one of the things that you'll find that you see with the guys that you always say that you like is that there's a build to the solo, and at the build there's some sort of more flashy kind of thing. Guys like Robin Ford do it so well. That it'll be a long, tasty solo, but then it'll just build, and there'll be one. Often it's just one like fancy pants lick that you just go, oh, and it kind of finishes it. It's the climax. Then you can roll over and go to sleep. You know. So I want to give you a starting point that's a really good one for fancy pants licks. Right? It's used by a lot of the rock guys, but it's used a hell of a lot in blues as well. And it's just a real simple idea, but it's one that I know you like the little patterny things. So we're going to start off on this little pattern. And it's simply this. But it can be used in 1,000 different ways. You can use it here. So I want you to tell me which is the starting point you want to do. Do you want to try and use thinnest strings? Yeah, with that. Yeah, is that fairly comfortable under your fingers? A lot of people find that awkward. Okay, so here we go. And I want you to feel it. That's it, keep going. Ah, okay, you're not even picking that note. You're just doing a silent hammer on. Good. Keep going. Now, I just want you to try for me, starting off with an up pick. So, up, down, up.
Oh, right, and then down.
Up.
Oh.
Okay, and I'll explain why I'm asking you to do this in a second. Does that feel really weird?
It's not how I would naturally
No? Okay,
do it,
no, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to explain to you this. There's two ways of approaching lots of different picking problems. And the most common thing to think about is whether you like playing inside or outside. So if you watch, what you were doing was this.
Yeah.
Can you see that both times I was starting inside the pair of strings?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it, and if I get you to do this with an up pick, do you see that the pick is never going inside the two strings? That's it. Now, what you find is...
So what's the...
Well, no, what's interesting is most people prefer one or the other, and not both. So being aware of which one is the comfortable one for you, so you'd be an inside picker.
Okay.
There's a lot of this stuff came to light for most of us in Paul Gilbert's Intense Rock 2 DVD way back when, and he talks about whether he's playing inside or outside. I think he's synopsis that you should play both, that you should work on both of them. But I definitely found I tend to be an outside picker. I prefer being outside, but if inside is working better for you, that's fine. The silent hammer-on is fine, but there are reasons why it makes it. I think it's worth practicing rather than just going. And just to explain for those out there that don't understand what I'm talking about, actually, so this lick, I'm suggesting pick, hammer, flick, pick, hammer, flick. But it is possible for that last note just to go pick, hammer, flick, and a silent hammer on. So I'm not actually picking that.
So there's only one.
So you actually only need one pick if you're doing the silent hammer on. That's it. But I want you to have a go at doing this pick, hammer, flick, pick, pick.
And you don't mind which way I pick it?
No. Keep going. Excellent. That's really good.
So I'm not supposed to change.
Huh? Yeah.
No.
Well, no. You can, or you can. This is just a technical exercise.
Yeah.
So this little pattern you can use loads and loads of places and with loads of variations. Same one in A. It's just this. Box 2.
Oh,
that's it. Again. Okay. What about this? There's a blue note there. But now you're picking all of them. So pick, hammer, flick, pick, pick.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah. Try and get the pick a little softer, because the pick at the moment is
loud,
really loud
yeah.
compared to the other one. So try and get it set a bit. That's it. That's it. Great.
That picking thing, that's quite interesting. I have a very I pick too hard. No, that's
no. Yeah, I was going to say you need to pick appropriately.
Yes, I don't. I find that. I mean, I think that's one of the things Pete Honore finds. It's one of the things I do that annoys him. Sound like a married couple. But it's just I just pick hard on all the notes, and I don't know whether I think I've just got to consciously not. It's not a question of just going, "I'll use a thinner plectrum" or something like that. It is just.
I think part of that is the next kind of, because you play so well in so many areas, things like that are just like little things, if you're aware of and you decide to do something about it, it'll change. If you're aware of it and you don't try to do anything about it, it's never going to change.
Yeah.
But if you say how often do you jam with a band or with other, like?
Only in the videos. I mean, it's not even with a band.
Okay.
It'll just be over a
It's
loop.
just with
won't
one
it?
person. Okay.
So,
A really good thing, and we're going to try one now. When you're jamming with somebody and the backing is static, you can play statically. But if we suddenly play real soft, you have to play soft and you have to learn to explore your dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to we're just going to play a 12-bar blues. You can jam whatever you like. It doesn't have to be stuff that we're working on. Play whatever you like. We're going to play just one normal 12-bar blues.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take it right down. And I'm going to start playing minimally and quietly.
Yeah.
And you have to follow me down there. And then I'm going to gradually pick it up again. And I want you playing harder. But if I drop again, I want you to follow me and just be playing really softly. Yeah? Let's have a little fun with that. Use whatever pick you like. You comfortable?
yeah, I don't know. I've thrown myself now. I'm like, right, okay.
You ready?
Yeah, in A is this?
Yeah, keep it nice and simple. Drop it down.
I feel
Much better. No, it's great.
I feel like I almost need different licks for when it gets quieter as well.
A little bit. So what happened when I went quiet? What were you doing? You're playing softer, but what else were you doing?
I'm not sure consciously that I thought I was doing anything differently other than just
No,
trying to play.
You weren't much, and
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah,
You're
that's
exactly
the
on the
problem.
right
It's
thing. So when it all drops down and it's quieter, what do you tend to do if you're like?
So just play less and slow down a bit.
Play less, slow down, and just try and feel a little bit more relaxed or sullen, or often in those things when it goes real quiet, the thing that you've got to explore is the dynamic range, and this is the guys like Robin or whatever are killer at doing that. So if you're playing a really slow, sad blues, you need to play softly and delicately and all of that, and not just the same thing as before.
Yeah.
So you're much more likely to go than or whatever in a slow blues. It just kind of feels a bit odd
it
like
does.
that.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
it didn't feel like it didn't feel like what I was playing was appropriate. But
right, your dynamic level was better.
Yeah.
And what I really liked was that you were exploring using the dynamic. So you were playing soft, and then you were picking out some notes hard, and that is such a nice thing when all of the guys that we've talked about with amps that like dynamic range. What they like is dynamic range, is the difference between the loud and the soft. And if you're only playing in a narrow band, you're missing out on all of the lot louder and a lot quieter bit. Same thing, we're going to just play a really slow blues now. So I want you playing softer and less, but exploring, sometimes bringing it up and playing a little louder. Yeah?
Okay.
Here we go. Still playing very hard. Better. better.
It's
different, isn't it?
It's just, it's you are. It's like another layer of thinking. So you're going. I think most of the time before, it's all the thinking is choosing the right note.
Exactly.
And now it's going and also choose the
all
right.
Of this other stuff.
Well, but it isn't. It's funnily enough. I mean, it's the choosing the right note bit is probably still the most sort of mentally demanding bit of it. And it's almost just and it's sort of going and also play at a sort of a style that's appropriate.
Yes. So it's interesting for you that this lick, this thing, you can't play it softly. Every time you went, you were doing all of the stuff really well, and then you'd go. It's like, but that's not to say it is one that you should play quietly. It was just funny that every time you went to it, it was stronger. So a nice way as well that you might like to try and tame, especially being that you've got a guitar shop, is when there's no one around, getting a big amp and turning it up a bit, right? So that it's not nice to play it loud. Just to teach you to keep your dynamic under control, but then explore what it's like to be able to have that range of emotions rather than it being just static. If you think probably the best, have you ever listened to Live at the Regal, the BB King record?
Lots of BB King stuff, so but
the thing for me that really floats my boat, and often you hear people talk about him doing these 1 note and 2 note solos. What has he got that he's using that's so magical if it's only 1 note?
It's
the dynamic, all of that other stuff, the vibrato, the dynamic, the touch, the rhythm, the spacing. And if you can learn a little bit from that about trying to play less, trying to explore how you play it and the touch. No, we'll talk about there's like an emotional element lesson that I can dig you into, but it's a bit.
I think I know what you mean though. But even just from that bit, it's just that sort of. It's just, and it's again because I don't play fast anyway, so it's not even a question of just. It is about just going, it's less, isn't it? Just like softer, less. Maybe hang on a note for a bit longer.
I think there's an even bigger element which maybe we'll save it for next lesson, but it's the getting in touch with the expressive stuff. Like how do you feel about it, and how can you make how you're feeling come out in what you're playing? I think that's one of the key things. So I'm not saying like if I'm playing a blues, I don't have to put myself in some morbid state in order to try and get in touch with that stuff. But I think getting in touch with it at some point enables you to revisit it playing wise, being able to try and get that real sensitivity to just like you barely want to touch it because it might hurt if you're going to touch that note kind of.
I need to go into Marks and Spencer's when they've just run out of hummus and prosecco on a Friday night.
No, don't do that. No, that's
and then come back like play the biggest blues solo I've ever played ever.
Oh, Lee, that's the best analogy ever. You've got to go into Marks and Spencer's on a Friday night when they've run out of hummus and prosecco in order to get the blues. That's amazing. I think I'm going to have to write a song about that. That's the best thing ever.
Oh, well.
That's the highlight of this lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. On that, I think maybe we should stop on that.
No, that's good. I think so.
The things to practice.
Yes.
Your new fancy chords. Having a go at writing them down.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually write down these new chord grips, and we'll keep expanding it. If you can bring even better, Lee.
Yeah.
For a second, if you can bring it with you, then I can look at the ones and I know exactly what ones I've given you and what ones I think might be fun to work on to add to.
Yeah.
Then there's revisiting those patterns, consciously trying to break them into smaller chunks and then actually use them. So put a looper on, take a little bit of it and see if you can use it. And then you've got this new pattern, which we kind of stopped exploring a little bit, but this idea, I want to be able to get you going, like, I want you to just work on it like this for now, getting really solid with the timing and doing that extra pick, that's it. Because I want to get you doing stuff like, or getting these little quicker phrases that we can start to incorporate, and then I want to work on building the solos. So we start with this delicately, softly thing, gradually getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then climaxing with our big couple of fancy repeater licks. That's where I'm trying to head with that stuff.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Then I want at least once a week, I want you to try and play a really slow blues. I've got a backing track I'm going to send you, which is a really slow Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque style thing. I think it's in B minor, so that'll be good for you to be playing in a different key.
I've got loads of,
well, no, Pete's got...
Pete's, he's on to volume 4 now. We should plug that. Volume 4 of all his guitar backing tracks, which you can find on iTunes or Spotify.
What are they called?
They're just called Anderton's backing tracks. But I've given him the name royalty free. It's entirely a Pete Honoré thing.
Right. Cool. And they're really good. They're great backing tracks. So use a backing track, but I want you to pick one that's really, really slow and mellow and work on this dynamic range thing. So playing as softly as you can and as least, the less notes that you can that you still feel like you're making sense, musical sense of it. And then work on developing that so it gets a little more complicated and there's more stuff going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I can throw in the gospel chords as well into that as well.
You can throw in gospel chords. You can even throw them into lead stuff as well. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Great.
It's all good.
Good stuff.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye, Internet.
Thanks,
we'll see
man.
you again soon.
All right. See you later. Cheers.